Welcome to the Dr. Doug Show, your resource for bone health, hormone optimization, and health span. Are you taking estrogen or HRT hoping to improve your bone health? Well, you probably know that I'm a big fan of estrogen replacement for those that can take it. Unfortunately, many doctors do not test estradiol levels, and your levels may not be adequate to protect your bones. So here's the controversy. Estradiol is FDA approved for symptoms of menopause. It is also FDA approved for osteoporosis. But the therapeutic levels for each of those processes or diseases is different, meaning that you need different levels of estradiol to achieve the goals of symptoms of menopause relief than you do from helping to slow down bone loss and potentially even build bone. So I've heard many experts in menopause say that there are no defined levels of estradiol that can prevent bone loss or help to build bone. I'm going to show you that that's not true. Stick around while I show you exactly what we do with our patients and the data that we use to support that. Also, we are on a mission to help educate as many people as we can around osteoporosis and bone health. And all I'm asking of you is if you enjoy this content, you find value in it, please click the subscribe button. The more people that click the subscribe button, the more the YouTube algorithm will present this to people that are looking for this type of information. Thanks in advance.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
All right, so like I said, I'm going to show you exactly what we do with estradiol. But before we get there, let me give you just a little bit of background. So human bodies have multiple estrogens. We look specifically at an estrogen called estradiol because it's the most potent of the estrogens. Declining levels of estrogen is clearly associated with, and actually found to be causative of, bone loss. We also know that HRT, hormone replacement therapy, or menopausal therapy, however you want to say it, will improve bone health, slow down bone loss, and prevent fractures. But how much is enough? How do we test? There's so much variation from doctor to doctor, OBGYN versus endocrinologist versus functional doctor. It's so confusing. One of the biggest challenges I see is within the OBGYN community, they generally will try to and are trained to use as little estrogen as possible for as short a time as possible. And they have reasonable validation to do that. Functional doctors like to use other types of testing like urine testing or so-called Dutch testing, saliva testing. And so I frequently will get this feedback in the YouTube comments, which we love, by the way, but in the YouTube comments and our masterclass and our HealthSpan Nation and from our patients, and they say, my OBGYN says that they don't need to test my levels, but I go to one doctor and they use this kind of test and my levels are high. I go to another doctor, they use this kind of test and my levels are low. I don't know what to do. How do you know? Well, here's what the evidence says. So before I dig into what we see working well clinically for our patients, both on lab values and on imaging studies, meaning that they're actually improving their bone health, density, and quality, let's review some of the literature because this is a really important way to look at estradiol to understand why my recommendations might be different from multiple other doctors that you may have in your healthcare circle. All right, so this first study that I want to look at is a cross-sectional analysis from 2016. Now, when we look at groups like this or a cohort, it's good for showing associations. So we're not going to find causation here. We're just looking for an association. So what they did here is they looked at 270 women and they looked at their estrogen levels. And they were comparing that then to bone mineral density. And what they showed is that there was a threshold of about 60, what's called picogram per ml, picogram per milliliter. Picogram per ml, there was a threshold of 60 that when women had estradiol levels less than 60, they had 5 times greater odds of having low bone mineral density compared to those over 60. So what does that mean? It just means that there might be a threshold somewhere around there where bone mineral density starts to drop. But that's not convincing enough. So we need more evidence than that. Right, so this is a 2021 study from the NHANES data. Now, NHANES is a massive data bank. You can get all kinds of interesting associations out of this. What they showed here, specifically with estrogen levels and bone mineral density, is that there was, again, an inflection point around 70 picogram per ml in this paper, so a little bit higher than the last paper, but 70 picogram per ml was the inflection point where bone mineral density started to drop off. A couple of points about this I want to bring up. So first of all, for our international patients, make sure if you're looking at your labs that you're adjusting for units, because internationally the units tend to be different. Also, this is a good time to bring up other types of testing again. So urine metabolite testing, saliva testing, different units, and oftentimes different breakdown products. They're looking at sometimes the metabolic byproducts of hormones rather than the hormone themselves. It's super confusing, but remember that serum or blood test is the gold standard. There is an abundance of case law and malpractice suits where providers tried to use saliva and urine testing to dose hormones. It is not accurate. We have to use serum. We have to use blood. You can use those other things too, in addition to, but we need to use blood because that's what all of the data is really based on. That's what all of the big studies use. So yes, some of the other things are validated, but there's value for those things outside of testing for dosing. If we're going to be adjusting dosing, we really need symptoms and we need serum values, in my opinion. All right, so before we get to how we manage things, because we're not quite there with the research yet, let me just show you one more big paper here. So this 2019 paper talks about exactly how I look at it. So they talk about this thing called the estrogen threshold hypothesis. And what I love about this paper is that they're looking specifically at the impact that estrogen has on different types of tissues. And what they show very clearly in this paper is that different tissues will be impacted by estrogen at different levels. So low level will have an impact on some things that might impact the symptoms of menopause. So that's cool. But if you look at this paper, you can see that it's not going to impact other structures, specifically bone, specifically heart, specifically brain. And so this paper brings up the fact that, yeah, estrogen does have a different impact at different levels. And the range that they present, and then we have a figure here from the study, but there's a range that they present here, and you can see that it goes up and it kind of plateaus off. That's 30 to 50 picogram per ml. So I would definitely want to be at the top end of that range. And so now we have these 3 studies that are showing a range, a threshold between 50 and 70 picogram per ml, where you're going to start to see an impact of estradiol specifically on bone health. All right, so do you know what your estradiol level is? And this could be a good question even if you're cycling, but definitely if you are on estrogen replacement. Do you know where you are? Are you at 50 to 70 picogram per ml? Will your doctor even test it? And a lot of doctors will refuse to test it. There's clear evidence here that if we're underneath that 50 to 70 and we just kind of say 60, if you're underneath that 60 picogram per ml threshold, you're likely not seeing the potential benefit from estradiol on your bones that you could if you were at that level. And those 3 studies that I just called out clearly show that. All right, before we move on to my favorite study here, which I think is really cool, I just want to make a quick note about our masterclass. If you haven't been to our masterclass yet, it is a free resource where we put together all of the different components of a bone health program, like what we do for our full service patients. Again, totally free. Opportunity to ask questions at the end. If you haven't been through it and you have osteoporosis or know someone with osteoporosis, you should definitely register for that in the description below on YouTube. Or if you're listening to this on a podcast, just go to drdouglucas.com and you'll find the registration link there. All right, so we're almost to the solution that we figured out for our patients, but let me share this one last study with you because this is the one that I really like the most. So this is actually an older study. It's from 1992, and it included 262 participants that they divided up into 3 groups. And within these 3 groups, they were looking at bone resorption markers and serum estradiol. So again, blood levels of estradiol and bone resorption markers. They had 3 groups, 158 women on hormone replacement, 49 women that were eugonatal, which is the term they used in the paper, but what that means is they should still be cycling, they have normal hormone levels, and then 55 women that were postmenopausal that were not treated with hormone replacement. All right. What they found here is, again, that there's a threshold of 60 picogram per ml that prevented bone loss. And this correlates with the eugonatal women near the end of the early follicular phase, right? So early on in the cycle. And if you were to attempt to average out the level of estrogen for a cycling woman, this is physiologic, but it's not even average. It's actually about half of the quote unquote average. But if you've ever looked at the chart, you can see that there's an up and down that's quite variable from day to day for women going through the cycle of the month. But 60 is still a very physiologic level. We don't need to go that high. It doesn't need to be, super physiologic by any means. So let's get into what we do. So we need to understand that not all estradiol therapy will achieve the desired goals. We see this all the time. So women will come in, they'll say, oh, I don't need to worry about hormone replacement. I'm already on replacement. My doctor's got me on this and I got it covered. But we test their levels and what we find is that their estradiol level is 10. So their symptoms of menopause may have been relieved, but they're not seeing the benefits of estradiol for their bones and potentially other things. So we can teach you how to do this either through our Bone Foundations course, which you can learn about if you register for our masterclass. Obviously, we're walking our full service patients through this. We are also talking about this in our HealthSpan Nation. So again, trying to get this information out in as many ways as possible. Remember that if your doctor is using urine to understand the breakdown of estrogen, that's fine. It can really help with symptoms of too much estrogen and actually can decrease the risk of using estrogen, but it is not used for dosing. My preference is don't use saliva. I don't think that it's helpful at all. We also need to understand that there are different ways to get estradiol. So we prefer to use compounded creams because we can vary the dosing and we see more consistent results that way. There are commercial patches that can get you to 60 picogram per ml, but not all of them do. So you have to test your levels. So that 60 picogram per ml is sort of our sweet spot. It's our threshold. And remember that more is not better. I will have another video talking about, some of the super physiologic dosing that I see out there. There's some really interesting protocols, but I don't recommend them. We just need to hit that threshold. We don't need to go over that for any reason that I am aware of. So this video was a great review, in my opinion, of estrogen and bone health and the levels associated with that. If you like this content, please consider the video, Does Estrogen Cause Breast Cancer or Build Bone? If you haven't seen that one already, or consider this one, Hormone Replacement, Fear and Hope, an older video that we did on HRT in general. So that's it. Remember, my friends, you are created for greatness. So seek optimal, not average. Don't be afraid to be extraordinary because you are, and that's what it takes. This presentation is for general informational purposes only, does not constitute the practice of medicine, nursing, or other professional healthcare services, including the giving of medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is formed. The use of this information and the materials linked to this presentation are at the user's own risk. The content in this presentation is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Users should not disregard or delay obtaining medical advice for any medical condition they have, and they should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.